Yo. Yo, boss. Yo.
I'm disabled and homeless, and I did 10 years in prison. So I just sleep on top of the blankets. It's actually not so bad.
I got out of prison with no funds, no help from the state, and $35 in my pocket. I haven't been able to receive housing. I'm on a list.
How long can we ignore the reality that homelessness continues to rise in one of the wealthiest nations in the world? New Hampshire, with its tranquil landscapes and charming towns, seems worlds apart from the cities often associated with homelessness.
I think they should be given accommodation, but as horrendous as it is, this is sort of the best of a bad case scenario.
Yet, the state is facing an alarming surge in the number of people without homes. This is not a question we can afford to overlook, as New Hampshire, like many states across the country, grapples with an issue that demands immediate and effective action. In New Hampshire, a state often celebrated for its serene landscapes and high quality of life, homelessness has become an undeniable crisis. How did we get here? Why is it that in a place where so much wealth exists, an increasing number of individuals and families are struggling to find shelter? These are not just rhetorical questions, but urgent inquiries that need addressing. The statistics are staggering and tell a troubling story. In just 1 year, from 2022 to 2023, the number of homeless individuals in New Hampshire surged by a shocking 52%, growing from 1,605 to 2,441 people.
I've been homeless 6-7 years, bounce around shelters, tents in the woods, and here in the park currently. As a homeless person, you learn quick to be transient and fluid.
This is a dramatic increase, but the issue extends beyond individuals on the streets. More concerning is the sharp rise in homelessness among families and children. In 2023, nearly 2,335 people in families faced homelessness, a near 46% increase from the previous year. These are not just numbers. These are mothers, fathers, and children now navigating a world of uncertainty, constantly searching for stability. While the numbers alone should be enough to demand action, the story doesn't end there. Homelessness in New Hampshire is not just an urban issue, but one that stretches into rural communities as well. As more and more people lose their homes, shelters and services are becoming overwhelmed. With a vacancy rate for rental properties at a mere 0.6%, it's increasingly impossible for those in need to find affordable housing. How can a state, known for its peaceful towns and high standards, let such a crisis unfold? The state's shelters and programs, while doing their best to provide relief, are clearly outmatched by the growing demand. These efforts, such as the allocation of more funds for temporary shelters and emergency housing, are certainly steps in the right direction, but are they enough? These short-term solutions help, but they do not address the root causes of homelessness: the lack of affordable housing, economic instability, and rising healthcare costs. As the crisis deepens, it's clear that more must be done. This isn't just an issue of statistics, it's about the real lives that are being affected every day.
You keep saying the hotel room. One, there isn't enough hotel room for everyone outside, and two, there wasn't even enough for everybody in the park.
Can we continue to stand by while so many are left behind? What more can we do as a society to create lasting change and give those struggling with homelessness a real opportunity to rebuild their lives. The growing homeless population in New Hampshire presents a call to action that must not be ignored. When examining the state of homelessness in New Hampshire, one undeniable truth becomes clear. The social welfare system, despite its efforts, is failing many of its most vulnerable citizens. With the rise in homelessness and the severe lack of affordable housing, the question must be asked, is the social safety net we have truly serving those in need? While programs like rapid rehousing and additional funding for shelters have been put into place, they remain insufficient when it comes to addressing the long-term needs of individuals experiencing homelessness. In 2025, the state allocated $12 million annually to support homelessness services, which include providing shelter, temporary housing, and basic necessities. While this funding is certainly well-intentioned, it's evident that temporary fixes are simply not enough. The issue at hand isn't just about providing short-term relief. It's about creating lasting solutions. How many more shelters and temporary programs do we need before we address the real issue, the lack of affordable, stable housing? The fact is, many of these initiatives fail to tackle the root causes of homelessness. Programs like rapid rehousing, which aim to move people quickly from shelters into permanent housing, are useful in the short term. However, they do not address the structural problems that cause people to fall into homelessness in the first place. The lack of affordable housing, escalating rent prices, and the inadequacy of mental health services are not issues that can be solved by simply placing a roof over someone's head for a few months. Without addressing these foundational problems, the cycle of homelessness will only continue. Additionally, homelessness is often tied to deeper social problems, such as mental health issues, addiction, and domestic violence. Yet, there remains a glaring gap in services that address these issues effectively. For example, how can a person struggling with severe anxiety or depression be expected to stay employed or find stable housing when they can't access proper mental health care? Similarly, for survivors of domestic violence, leaving an abusive environment often means facing a new set of challenges, with few resources available to help them transition to a safe, stable living situation. While New Hampshire has made some progress in increasing funding for shelters and creating more housing options, the growing demand for assistance reveals a glaring shortfall in the system. In 2024, there was a 71% increase in people living without shelter compared to the previous year, underscoring the failure of current policies to curb the rise of homelessness. This suggests that government interventions are not keeping pace with the increasing number of homeless individuals. Can we truly say that our social welfare programs are effective when they are unable to even match the increasing demand? The real issue is not simply the number of shelter beds or temporary housing units, but the systemic factors that force people into homelessness. A deep examination of income inequality, the rising cost of living, and the overall housing market shows that these programs, though necessary, are merely band-aids on a much larger wound. How can we continue to ignore the underlying causes of homelessness while putting a temporary fix on the symptoms? This brings us to an essential question. What kind of society do we want to live in? Should we continue patching up the system with short-term solutions, or do we need a complete overhaul of our approach to social welfare? Addressing homelessness is not just about providing shelter, it's about transforming the entire system to prevent people from ever falling through the cracks in the first place. Only through a holistic approach that includes affordable housing, mental health services, and sustainable income support can we hope to address homelessness in any meaningful way. The growing homelessness crisis in New Hampshire is not merely the result of unfortunate circumstances, it is a direct consequence of systemic issues that have plagued society for decades. While it's easy to place blame on individuals for their plight, the truth is far more complex. The root causes of homelessness are deeply intertwined with economic, social, and policy failures that continue to push vulnerable populations further into poverty. First and foremost, the lack of affordable housing is one of the most significant drivers of homelessness. Rent prices in New Hampshire have skyrocketed in recent years, with the average two-bedroom apartment now costing $1,833 per month, an amount that is simply out of reach for most low-income families. This disparity between wages and housing costs is a ticking time bomb. How long can people survive on stagnant wages when basic living costs continue to rise? The reality is, many cannot. As a result, more families are left with no choice but to forego other essential needs, such as healthcare, food, or education, just to keep a roof over their heads. For many, this is not a sustainable choice, and they ultimately find themselves at risk of eviction or living in temporary shelters. Equally concerning is the widening income inequality that has taken hold in New Hampshire and much of the country. As wages have remained stagnant or grown at a slower pace than inflation, the gap between the rich and the poor has widened considerably. This growing divide leaves many workers struggling to make ends meet. With affordable housing scarce and job opportunities insufficient, the working class is often just one emergency away from losing everything. How can we expect families to remain financially stable when the cost of living continues to outpace their ability to earn a decent wage? The answer is simple: we can't. Moreover, a significant number of homeless individuals struggle with mental health issues, addiction, or both. These challenges are often exacerbated by a lack of access to proper health care, especially mental health services. In New Hampshire, there has been a long-standing shortage of adequate mental health care facilities, leaving individuals with serious conditions to fend for themselves without the support they need. How can anyone expect to find housing stability when their mental health is untreated or when they are battling addiction? The answer is that they cannot. Without access to proper treatment and support, these individuals are pushed to the fringes of society, unable to break the cycle of homelessness. So, what can we do to tackle these root causes? It is clear that a multifaceted approach is needed, one that focuses on increasing affordable housing, addressing income inequality, and providing comprehensive health care, including mental health and addiction treatment. If we don't address these foundational issues, homelessness will only continue to grow. The question we need to ask is this: how long can we as a society ignore these systemic failures before they become irreversible? The time for change is now, and it starts with recognizing the underlying causes of homelessness and committing to real, lasting solutions. When it comes to addressing the issue of homelessness in New Hampshire, the state has taken some positive steps, but the question remains: are these efforts enough to meet the growing demand? While the state's response has been commendable in some respects, it has failed to keep pace with the surge in homelessness, leaving many individuals and families struggling with no permanent solution in sight. In 2025, New Hampshire's legislature allocated $12 million annually to homeless services, with a portion of this funding directed toward shelters and programs such as rapid rehousing. This initiative aims to provide quick, temporary housing solutions, helping families and individuals transition from shelters to more stable living situations. While rapid rehousing offers some relief, it is at best a stopgap measure. It does not address the root causes of homelessness, such as the shortage of affordable housing, rising rents, and economic inequality, which continue to push individuals into homelessness in the first place. While the state's financial investment is a step in the right direction, it raises an important question. Can we really solve homelessness by simply offering temporary shelter? The answer seems clear: no, we cannot. Temporary measures, while necessary, do not provide long-term stability. Without affordable housing options and access to mental health services, those who find shelter today may find themselves homeless again tomorrow. Furthermore, the state's efforts to address homelessness often feel fragmented. Though there are many well-intentioned programs, they are not integrated into a cohesive statewide strategy. For example, while some areas of New Hampshire have made strides in offering emergency shelters and services, others remain underfunded and lack the necessary infrastructure to meet demand. This inconsistency leads to a patchwork system that leaves many homeless individuals without the help they desperately need. Why should some regions receive more support than others when homelessness is a statewide problem? The issue goes beyond funding and programs. It's about policy, about creating a housing market where low-income families can afford a stable place to live. With rising rents and a severe shortage of affordable housing, New Hampshire's current system is not equipped to deal with the growing number of homeless individuals. So, what is the solution? Is it enough to continue allocating more funding to temporary solutions, or do we need a deeper systemic shift in how we approach housing and support for vulnerable populations? The answer lies in a comprehensive, long-term approach. A more integrated policy that focuses on affordable housing development, mental health support, addiction recovery programs, and a living wage for all is essential to addressing homelessness in a meaningful way. Until we change the structures that contribute to homelessness, the problem will only grow, and no amount of temporary assistance will ever truly resolve the crisis. To truly resolve the homelessness crisis in New Hampshire, we must move beyond temporary fixes and embrace long-term, sustainable solutions. The current system is struggling to keep up with the increasing number of homeless individuals, and a fundamental shift in approach is desperately needed. But how do we begin to tackle such a complex issue? One immediate solution would be to significantly increase the availability of affordable housing. The supply of rental properties in New Hampshire has dwindled, and rents have soared to levels that most low-income individuals simply cannot afford. To address this, the state needs to prioritize building more affordable homes and offering incentives to developers to construct housing that is accessible to those on the lower rungs of the economic ladder. Shouldn't affordable housing be a basic human, right? Without it, many will continue to struggle to maintain stable living conditions. Additionally, mental health services must become a central part of the strategy to combat homelessness. Many individuals who end up on the streets face untreated mental health challenges, substance abuse, or both. The lack of accessible, affordable mental health care in New Hampshire is a crisis in its own right. Wouldn't it be more effective to invest in mental health treatment and rehabilitation programs before people fall into homelessness, rather than offering emergency services once they're already on the streets? Offering holistic care that addresses both mental health and housing stability could help break the cycle of homelessness once and for all. Moreover, we need a stronger social safety net, one that not only provides emergency housing, but also prevents people from becoming homeless in the first place. This includes strengthening job placement programs and providing more robust financial support for low-income families. If we increase the minimum wage and ensure that wages match the cost of living, can we not reduce the number of people who are just one paycheck away from homelessness? Finally, collaboration between state and local governments, nonprofits, and the private sector is crucial. Homelessness is not an isolated problem. It affects the entire community. What if all these sectors work together in a unified effort to build lasting solutions? Could we create a model that other states could adopt? The time for meaningful action is now. Addressing homelessness in New Hampshire requires a comprehensive, multifaceted approach that tackles both the immediate needs of individuals and the systemic issues that perpetuate the crisis. Only by working together and committing to long-term solutions can we hope to build a future where homelessness is no longer a growing issue. From my perspective, the situation in New Hampshire, and indeed across the United States, reflects a deep systemic failure. It's not enough to simply offer temporary solutions when the underlying problems remain unresolved. The homelessness crisis is a manifestation of the broader issues within our society. Rising inequality, a housing market that leaves the poor behind, and a healthcare system that fails to address the mental health and addiction issues that so many face. Homelessness cannot be solved by shelters alone. The real change will only come when we focus on affordable housing development, mental health care, addiction recovery programs, and policies that create stable incomes for all citizens. Until we address these fundamental issues, we are merely putting a Band-Aid on a much larger wound. It's a sign that our systems are failing, that we're not doing enough to ensure that everyone has a safe, stable place to live. We need to look beyond temporary fixes and focus on long-term, sustainable solutions. And more importantly, we need to recognize that homelessness affects real people, mothers, fathers, children who deserve our compassion, not our judgment. Conclusion: homelessness in New Hampshire is a crisis that reflects deeper systemic issues within our society. Despite government efforts, the problem continues to grow, highlighting the need for a comprehensive approach that addresses the root causes: affordable housing, income inequality, and mental health support. It's not enough to provide temporary shelter. We need lasting solutions that empower individuals to rebuild their lives. As a society, we must ask ourselves, are we willing to take meaningful action to end homelessness, or will we continue to let these issues fester? The time for real change is now.